Welcome, everyone. I'm Steve Adubato. Hey, listen, the employment sector, unemployment, the job market, everything you wanted and needed to know. Got an expert right here. She's Jane Oates. She's president of WorkingNation. Jane, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be here.
Jane, we'll put up the website for WorkingNation. Tell everyone what it is.
Steve, it's a nonprofit media entity completely devoted to telling the stories of that connection between education and work.
Okay, so how many more articles do I need to see or reports in the media about, hey, there's this great resignation, whatever, people don't want to work anymore, you can't find people to work. Is it A, how real? B, is it just the pandemic?
So look, Steve, it's the most confusing time. I've been in this workforce education field for a long time, most confusing time in my lifetime. You know, absolutely, the numbers don't lie. 4.4 million people quit their jobs in September. That's 3% of the workforce. But if you dig a little bit deeper, they're still working. I mean, there were over 6 million hires, and we forget that with the pandemic, the class of 2020, the class of 21 got totally lost in the shuffle, whether they graduated from high school, whether they graduated with an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. I think a lot of them a lot of these numbers are them reshuffling, going from being baristas somewhere to going into a full-time job where they studied.
Do you think, and again, the truth is we lost a couple of our people, talented young producers, but they went to work somewhere else and they're terrific and they're going to have great careers going beyond this. But that's not the same as someone saying, I'm tapping out. Don't people have to pay bills? Don't they have to pay rent, their mortgage, the utilities, buy food, get transportation, insurance? Am I missing something there as well?
Look, I think there are some people, Steve, and particularly women. The numbers tell us that the labor market participation rate today for women is about 10% less than it was at its peak in the early part of this decade. But they're worried. I mean, they go back to school, they have kids, their kids go back to school. And what happens if school closes? What happens, if they have to quarantine their kids? So I think there are still a lot of women sitting back waiting for the dust to settle. But what does that mean for their lives? Maybe they have a partner or a spouse who's supporting them. Maybe they moved in with their family, and they're doing multi-generational living for the short term. But I do think it's possible that some people have just checked out temporarily because they're scared to death about the residuals of the pandemic.
Jane, you understand work, and I've been reading and we do a separate show on leadership, and I try to connect leadership to the new workplace, if you will. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. There was a great article in the New York Times as we do this program last weekend in the business section on more and more employees demanding, and they don't even have to demand it anymore, but a level of flexibility. Like you say, you have to be in the office every day, you're gonna have a problem. If you give people an issue over childcare, and you have a problem, and you should, because people are more and more expecting a different quality of life. And if they're working at a certain time, it's not about being at your desk. I'll get off my soapbox. It's not about being at your desk 9 to 5 any longer. Is that correct?
I agree with that. I think it's getting the job done. And maybe this pandemic is going to make us all reevaluate what that means. Does it matter if you're sitting at a desk? Does it matter if you're sitting at home, as long as you're getting the job done?
So we're doing this right now out of a home studio. And a lot of people, I shouldn't say this on the air, but I will. A lot of people are like, oh, that's a great studio you're in. Well, we built a studio. I shouldn't say we, I didn't do anything. A great team behind the scenes built it. I can do this, we can do this with producers all over the state, the region, and some, frankly, out of state, doing all kinds of things. But there are some jobs where you can't do this, is my point. Right. Aren't there going to be some jobs, particularly in the service industry, where you physically have to be there? And the remote Zoom thing doesn't work.
Absolutely. And there are going to be some people who have the flexibility of remote work who don't like it, who really prefer working in a team, being in a physical place. But I do think it's going to put a lot of pressure post pandemic on HR people, because HR people, in order to attract talent and in order to retain talent, are going to have to move from the one size fits all model that they've been operating under and create a little bit of a mosaic for current employees and future employees. So you may not need childcare flexibility anymore, but I may need flexibility to care for an aging parent. And that paid leave is going to be something that is going to attract me. And I think the new thing that we're seeing now, which I really like, that we used to only see with employees who were in organized labor work sites, we're seeing employees really get some voice and say, look, I want to come and work for you, but what are you going to do to invest in me? How are you going to help me get on a career path? So you see the trend, the Walmart, the Amazon, the Target, all Macy's now, all saying, we're going to pay for your fill in the blank, associate's degree, master's degree, bachelor's degree. I think that's going to be the new normal. I think that's going to happen in more and more businesses, so that if I can't work remotely in terms of that flexibility, what else are you going to offer me? Can I take education benefits during the workday so I don't have to travel to a great college after I leave the workplace? They're going to have to offer me something else other than that ability to work remotely.
So it isn't just going to be, Jane, pay me more. That's not going to be enough.
I agree with that. It's going to be something you saw early on in the pandemic when employers were offering signing bonuses. Some of them right there in New Jersey that I would talk to, and they were saying, I'm offering $1,000 signing bonus, and people still won't come to work. And they were making the assumption that that meant people weren't going to work, period. The reality was people weren't going to work at that establishment. They were probably going somewhere else where they were giving them something that meant more to them than a one-time $1,000 payment that you had to pay taxes on.
Jane, help me on this. I think about wellness a lot, and not just mine, but in my coaching and on leadership. I often ask people, how are you taking care of yourself? Point being, my sense is that more and more people are more and more concerned about their own well-being. Are you seeing that?
Absolutely, Steve. Before the pandemic, we played with work-life balance, but now people really want it. They're demanding it. They want to go out and do things with their family. Basically, they want to go out and ride their bike or take a walk. They really do care. And I think it's a real link. I agree with you with wellness and leadership, but also mental health. I think people are really worried about their long-term mental health.
Hey, Jane, how the heck could I have been in this business for 30 years and not have had you on? You're awesome.
Steve, you're the best. You were so good to me when I was in New Jersey.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you say that again? Did you say
You are the BEST. Georgette, did you get that? Elvin, did you get that?
No, they're all behind the scenes, and they're all saying, I can't believe he just mugged and begged for a compliment. Hey, Jane Oates is the president, excuse me, I'm verklempt, of WorkingNation. Thanks so much, Jane. You're terrific.
Thank you so much, Steve.
We'll have you back. I'm so caught up with what Jane had to say. I think we're going to a break, and we're coming back after this.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by TD Bank, PSC&G, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Prudential Financial, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan, Georgian Court University, Atlantic Health System, and by the Russell Berry Foundation. Promotional support provided by NJ Biz and by New Jersey Globe.
What is your child's dream for the future? Doctor? Teacher? Architect? Whatever they aspire to be, a college education may realize those dreams. And NJ Best can help. It's the college savings plan specifically designed for New Jersey families. Start saving today with as little as $25, because now is the time to invest in their future. To learn about NJ Best 529 College Savings Plan, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, read the Investor Handbook available at njbest.com.